have some recorded footage of me conversing with both Asia and Brit Hart over the last 5 years, especially over the last year, a lot of like one-on-one exchange of me doing energy healing for Asia and her giving me business and life coaching. And the reason that this started actually was in the fall of 2022. I was contacted by a news outlet who was doing a stories on different celebrity deaths, and they were doing an episode on Avicii, who I had worked closely with in 2018, just before he passed away, very suddenly and tragically. And then 4 days after he passed away, I met Brit Hart, the psychic medium. And so 4 days after he passed away, she came into my life, and then a few days later, when it was announced that his death was by suicide, I started just not intending, I had zero intention of reaching out to him and trying to communicate. When his death was announced that it was suicide, I reached out to Brit Hart, who, again, I had met 4 days after he passed away. So then on April 27th, I said, "Hey, Brit, can I talk with you?" And really briefly, I'm just going to share something. So she was like, "Yeah, sure." And so we talked on the phone for a few minutes, and she said, "He's around you, and he's been around you, and you can go talk with him." So her and I hung up the phone. I went into the other room, and I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and I had this sort of altar set up in my room on this kind of like a fireplace thing. And I had a candle, and I lit the candle. It was one that I'd been saving to do a prayer for Tim, and I had these rainbow lights, and some really unexpected, actually funny things happened. But I sat and I said, "I'm so sorry you were in so much pain. If there was anything I could have done, I would have done it." And I don't remember if I said anything else. I think that was it. And then I started crying, and then I noticed a pair of underwear had fallen into my altar somehow, like maybe I'd been doing laundry, but I had been sitting there looking at it, and I hadn't seen the underwear. And then I saw the underwear, and I was like, that is so weird, because I had just been reading some articles that week. Just to give some context, I didn't know who Avicii was, and I didn't know that Tim was Avicii. I didn't know who the artist Avicii was. I didn't know that he was the artist of some of his famous songs like Levels and Hey Brother and Wake Me Up, which I had heard, but I didn't know who the artist was. And so the week after he died, I was reading all these articles, like in Rolling Stone magazine and all these different news and music media outlets. And I had read an article about how women would throw their underwear at him. And then I was like sitting here talking with him, and I could feel him next to me. And I started just laughing so hard, because I had this pair of underwear on my altar that I don't know how it got there. And I was just like, this is so funny. And then I started playing the song Levels, and I lit, I had the candle lit, but I started filming it. And there was all these like rainbow sparkly lights in the candle. And my birthday was going to be, was 2 days later. Sorry for the background noise. There's lots of dogs in the neighborhood. But my birthday was on April 29th. I turned 40 in 2018. And so I was going to have this big celebration, and I looked at my phone a few moments or a couple minutes later, and Brit had texted me and said, he showed her a candle and him like blowing out a candle. And she said, "I don't know how you relate to like rainbow lights." And he said, there was a candle and that his music was playing. And I was like, holy shit, that's specific. Like, she just said exactly what just happened. And so I was really just incredibly grateful even for that little bit of connection, and that he said some very comforting things through Brit to me, that that there was nothing that I could have done, was the gist of that message. But there was a little bit more. And then he kept appearing to Brit, and she said that he clearly wanted to speak with me. And so we set up a time to talk on my birthday, which was April 29th, 2018. And so I showed up, and her and I had a very long, like couple hours conversation, where she was giving me messages from Avicii and just validating like everything, was so detailed and specific, and things that nobody could have known, nobody else could have known. And also things about my birthday party. I had like a mermaid themed birthday party, so I had, you know, these like wigs and wardrobe changes and makeup and lights and all this stuff, because I get very into, like, obviously, I mean, this is just like, this is literally my casual Sunday look today. So Sunday afternoon, just here chilling in my, anyway, you get the idea. So he said that he saw me carrying some like green cloth and lights, and I had felt him with me as I was taking my photo booth stuff with the green cloth and lights to my car, and just all these incredible details. And so I had communication with him on and off for like several months with Britt, those first few months after he passed away. And one of the things that he was very clear about was that he wanted me to write about him, to talk about him, to share my experiences. And I had already been planning on writing, actually, about my own life and memoir, and you know, trauma and recovery and creativity and consciousness and all these beautiful things and difficult and, you know, just life shit that I wanted to share about. And after he passed away, it was like, well, it was such an instrumental, huge part of my life, because it just felt so significant. Even though I didn't know who he was, it felt so significant when I met him. It just felt like meeting a long lost brother, and like we were going to work together for the rest of our lives somehow. And, you know, I was a meditation teacher and supporting him, and creativity and all this stuff I want to share more about. But well, I will share that right now. There's a lot of benefits of transcendental meditation. One of the main ones is creativity, and that's certainly been my experience, and clarity of thought, clarity of purpose, clear vision. It just becomes easier to do any kind of creative process. In my own experience, it's like I have a thought, a vision, idea, usually right after my meditation. It's like all the limitations of the mind and the consciousness and the creativity, those limitations dissolve, and the consciousness expands and dips into that field of infinite creative intelligence and energy, and just it's so powerful. And so I was talking about this and how it feels like when you're creating, when you're meditating regularly, how it just feels like you don't even have to do anything. The idea is there, and it just flows so effortlessly. That feeling, it's really beautiful, and it happens a lot, especially when you meditate regularly. And so he was like, yes, that's like, we were just talking about that. You know, him and his musician friends were just talking about that experience the day before, and how it felt like they were just vehicles for music to come through.